Hi, we welcome you today to the Buddhistdoor and the Buddhistdoor International offices, where Venerable Sik Hin Hung has come by to speak about the recent application process that's just opened for this year's Masters of Buddhist Studies application process. We are delighted to have him come by and just to ask him a few questions about the program and find out what's so special about the Master's program at Hong Kong University.
Hello, Cathy. Thank you very much for giving me a chance to talk to you and everybody out in the internet. Okay. We obviously have been running the program for more than 10 years now. And all during this times, we have been trying to present a program to all the people that not only that we have a very strong traditional teaching on Buddhist studies, we also want to present a program to everybody that want to come and learn Buddhist teachings so that it can enhance his own well-being, both psychologically or maybe physically. So we try to strike a balance between the traditional teachings, which we are also very, very strong, and on another side, you can say the application of Buddhist studies.
Right.
So that how we can use Buddhist studies or Buddhist teachings so that it will be able to enhance ourselves. What I mean by enhancing ourselves is how we can comprehend ourselves and comprehend the world in a better way.
Right.
Better way in the sense that it is from the angle from the Buddha.
Well, I understand that after 10 years, you've developed quite a reputation at Hong Kong University for this special program. Can you give us a little bit of information about what sets you apart at Hong Kong University Center for Buddhist Studies compared to, say, other advanced study programs in the world? Because you do have an international body of students that come from around the world to attend also. Mm-hmm.
Like I said just now, we want to present a program that is not only that does not only have the traditional teachings. We have the traditional teachings. We have, as you may know, we have a scholar on Sanskrit, scholars on Pali, and we are in the process of hiring somebody that would be able to teach classical Tibetan. Obviously, we offer courses on Chinese too, because which is also a Buddhist language. Okay, but apart from these courses, we also offer courses on Buddhism and psychotherapy, pastoral care, Buddhist ethics. These courses, I think, is also a very important part of our program. Sometimes we would call it the applications of Buddhist teachings. Mm-hmm. How to use Buddhist teachings in a way that be able to enhance our well-being, not only in how we manage our own life, how we can understand ourselves better, and how we can also use Buddhist teaching as a means to help other people. So in that sense, a balance between the two make our program unique. Mm-hmm. There are many programs in the world that offer courses on the traditional teachings. Right. There are also courses or programs that emphasize on Buddhism and psychology. As I understand, the University of Toronto is offering such a program. But we want to emphasize there need to be a balance between the two. The application of Buddhist teachings, the application of using the Buddhist program, how it can enhance ourselves. We believe that it should be grounded in solid, fundamental Buddhist teachings. We cannot just take part of Buddhist teaching and quote, this is Buddhist, this is mindfulness practice, or this is Zen, and say, this is it. Yeah. We want to ground everything in solid, traditional, classical Buddhist teachings. That's why maybe that is our unique part, that we try to promote Buddhism, the application of Buddhism, but we want to ground that on the very traditional, the authentics, what the Buddha really taught.
Yeah. we also helped you to participate and enjoyed quite a bit the 10th anniversary of the center this past fall. One of the themes that came up, and I know each year you need to devote some time to promotional material and putting forth the new message each year. We noticed that you were focusing on a phrase called sustainable happiness.
Yes.
Which happiness seems to be a big topic with people all over the world, no matter what religion they come from or practice. And could you tell us a little bit about why you chose the phrase sustainable happiness as a sort of feature for the program?
As you probably know, that Buddhism talk about a lot about suffering. Actually, we talk about suffering not to promote suffering. We talk about suffering to promote the ending of suffering. In other words, happiness. Obviously, happiness is something that everybody looks for. But people look for happiness through getting more money, finding having a wonderful marriage. But as you may know, the Buddha pointed out that these worldly happiness, their biggest problem is insustainable. And in fact, Buddha talked about there's only one type of happiness that is truly sustainable, and that is nirvana, or the nirvanic experience. But if we talk about in search of nirvanic experience, nobody would come, and that would not appeal to people. Okay.
Maybe that might be a little too lofty a goal to strive for initially.
Yeah, it's a little bit too high, you know. So we talk about sustainable happiness. Obviously, sustainable happiness is there are different levels of sustainable happiness. I can get happiness from eating a piece of ice cream. I can get happiness of winning a lottery or going to Macau and winning or something like that. But these are not sustainable. They are obviously more sustainable happiness, like if you can find peace of mind through meditations. Obviously, you have not become truly enlightened, but if you can find happiness or peace of mind within yourself, those somehow seem to be more sustainable. Yeah. So we want to talk about there are different levels of sustainable happiness. And we can look for happiness apart from worldly or materialistic things, you know.
Oh, this is a very tricky city to teach that in.
Well,
Hong Kong is probably one of the centers of materialism.
Yeah, and we notice that even though Hong Kong is the center of one of these, the materialistic world, we notice that there are a lot of unhappy people. And their problem may not be able to be solved by getting more materialistic things. We are proposing that there's another way. There's a way that by going through understanding oneself, understanding the world, so that we can develop insight into ourselves and the world. And through understanding, we will be able to find the true peace of mind that we have in ourselves. And obviously, eventually, I don't know how long, hopefully we will be able to truly achieve this sustainable happiness. So what I mean by in search of sustainable happiness, there's a whole process of doing so, you know.
Right.
From getting the sustainable happiness by making a living, by being able to have a good interpersonal relationships, having good relationship with oneself, and more through meditations and things like that.
And you also help teach meditation classes in the program study.
Yes.
And teach insight, and you do the sutra classes also.
Yes, and on emptiness.
Yes, that's right. A very popular class, actually. Yes. So actually you give people really a start if they are in the program for a year or two, you're giving them the foundation tools to continue with what you've been teaching.
What we try to do in the program is not that you just come and study 1 year or 2 years that you will be able to achieve or attain sustainable happiness. What we want to do is give you a map, present you. There are all these things that's available. And these are the right way. There's many right ways okay? And this way worked and that way worked, and that seems to be a little dangerous. If you better not go there. So at least we give you a map where you want to go and what is available. We're going to present it through the studies, the text, so that you have a general idea what is available. And obviously, after you have the map and you know what is available, and you can find your own path, the path that you want to go down into, then develop so that you're finding your own way. So this is what we try to do. In search of sustainable happiness, this search is a long process. Maybe 1 year, 2 years, and maybe eons until you eventually become the Buddha.
Right. Well, it's a nice place to start for sure.
Yes.
I wanted to ask you on that note, actually, about starts. The design for the poster this year, the promotional advertisements, has gotten quite a bit of comment, actually. It's different from other years in style and message. And I wondered if you might be able to comment on that for a moment, about the nature of the young woman who's sitting on the crescent of the moon.
Actually, the message is the same. Actually, we did not change the wordings. Basically, the wording is basically the wording is from this year and last year is the same, and the message on our poster has basically been quite consistent. It's basically about how we can present a program that will be able to help you to understand. Present a program that you'll be able to manage your mind and life, mind and body management program through Buddhist Studies. This is what we have always been trying to present and promote. Now that we have been doing it for 10 years, this year we want to be a little more imaginative. Not that we are deviating from our past message. This young girl sitting on the moon is obviously a cartoon. Actually, I came up with the idea, and because I believe that everybody have these dreams when they were young, that I think my Prince Charming would be my sustainable happiness. By gaining my first million or 10 millions or billions will be my sustainable happiness. We always have this concept, this dream of, there is sustainable happiness. That's why we use a cartoon image. And that young girl sitting on the moon is obviously very much like a dream, you know.
Yeah.
It's not real. Everybody's not real. But we do have dreams that are not real. And we want to appeal to people that have that dream for looking for something sustainable. Maybe it is a dream. That's why we create the night sky, the young girl very comfortable sitting on the moon. Actually, it's very relaxing, like, you know, the Avalokitesvara, that's sitting like that we call it Gunji Jai Posat, very relaxing. A very relaxing young girl sitting on the moon, looking up, glazing up to our slogan, in search of sustainable happiness. Obviously, we're trying to appeal to the people that we all have that inner dream. That inner dream of sustainable happiness. But unfortunately, we lost that once we go out into the world and start working and making money, and then you have to deal with your boss and your colleagues and your clients, and all of a sudden it's gone. So we want to go back to everybody inner child, when we were young, when we still have that dreams of sustainable happiness. We're trying to promote or appeal or say, it is possible. It is possible that there is this sustainable happiness. It's just not the way you have been working on. It's not the way that you have been looking for. There is another path. Maybe you'll be able to find this path or this sustainable happiness through a program of Buddhist studies. This is what we have been trying to appeal and say to people.
Well, in some ways, maybe that will really help people to realize that there is a different way of looking at life.
Yes.
And when people are caught up in their suffering and they're plodding along through the responsibilities of life, that this actually offers hope. And as you say, something from childhood where life seemed to be more of a fantasy, but this is a reality, what you teach. But it takes you back to the possibilities.
Take the people back to their dreams, that urge, that longing, maybe that was one of the commenters say that, hey, aren't you getting a little more commercialized? We are not getting commercialized because we are money losing projects,
right?
But we are there to appeal to people. We want to reach out to people that may be a little lost, so that to awaken their own dreams that they have for many years. And we are saying that, come and look at what the Buddha taught. By understanding what the Buddha taught, you may be able to find a true path that maybe leads you to finding sustainable happiness.
And in that sense, it's a very priceless message.
Hopefully.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for
You're welcome.
answering that difficult one. Going back to one of your original points that you made earlier in the program, you all draw quite a large audience of scholars, and this comes from the sort of the combination of two streams of material that you offer, whether it's the scholarly material pursuits or whether it's the contemporary application. And you have equally in your student base, you have monastic members, you have business people, you have scholars that are academics. With these two streams running parallel, do you plan to continue this sort of line of thinking, almost as if you have two wings of the same bird to fly, so to speak, with the program?
Of course, we hope that we'll be able to continue as the way we do, and because I think that is important. And obviously is also without the classical teachings or the traditionals or the authentic teachings of the Buddha, and the other side, the application side, would be very dangerous.
Right.
However, if we just offer the traditional teachings, the language, the very traditional Abhidharmic teachings, and without the application side and how to use Buddhism to enhance our well-being, I think we would lose, or we will not be able to reach a lot of our students. And we will not be able to bring the benefit of Buddhist teachings to a lot of students, which I think, obviously, we are not monasteries. But I think even though we are a Buddhist center in a university, we do have that belief that it is our, apart from the traditional Buddhist studies, we need to also present Buddhism in another angle, the application side. And because the application of Buddhist studies and integrating that with other disciplines in the university, for example, neuroscience, psychologies, is something that started in the West.
Yeah.
It's not started in China or Hong Kong. We were more or less forced into this. And when we were forced to look at all the possibility that is being offered or being presented in the West, and I see it as a very important, another very important area that we cannot ignore. And it is my hope that not only that the Western different discipline, neuroscience, psychology, or whatever you have, can benefit from Buddhist teachings and Buddhist practice. I hope that Buddhist practice can benefit from all this scientific research, social science research, so that we can learn from them, that we can enhance the way that Buddhists practice. Now let me remind you that the way that Buddhists practice has been evolving ever since Buddha started teaching the Four Noble Truths. This teachings has evolved from the traditional the traditional Buddhist teachings to the Sarvastivadians or whatever, all the different schools, and then you go into the Mahayana, then you have the Tantric Buddhism. This is the evolving of Buddhist teachings. And now we're in the 21st century. Maybe we need to have a type of Buddhist practice that is unique to our period, that we take into what is going around. For example, Tantric Buddhism was an answer to what was happening in India. Mahayana teachings was an answer to what was popular at that time. And in the 21st century, we cannot, shall we say, live in the ivory tower and ignore what is happening on the outside and say, oh, this is it. We have been doing this for 2,000 years and don't come in and I don't go out.
Yes.
So I think we need to have a dialogue. They are obviously going through all our Tripitaka and learning from us, learning from our meditation, taking on our mindfulness practice and repackaging into their programs. Well, I think it's necessary that we look at what they are doing and learn from them and maybe repackage some of their stuff into our practice. And I think we have a lot of things to learn from science, neuroscience, psychology. And I think by learning from them, hopefully we will be able to come up with something more, shall we say, user-friendly to our monks.
Yes, I mean, make it relevant for today's life.
Yes.
Contemporary society has evolved over the centuries,
Yes.
and Buddhism is adapting and struggling to change with it.
Yes, we need to.
And schools like the MBS program at Hong Kong U are introducing those concepts and helping people grow through that process.
In a way, we are only an answer to society. There was this opportunities, there was this conditions, and we took it.
Yeah.
That's all.
Yeah.
And
wow. We thank you very much for having that program and making it open. And the application process is now open.
Yes.
And will be open all the way until March 15th.
Yes.
And the details are on the poster, which we'll have adjacent to this interview. But thank you very much for coming today and sharing with us some of your thoughts about the program and the invitation for people to come and self-develop and cultivate things that they can take forth into their integrated life and society.
Thank you very much for giving
Thank
me a
you.
chance to explain what we have been trying to do.
Yeah, good. Well,
very much.
thank you.
Make this some better place. Let us live on. Make this some better place. Let's take my gift. Make this some better place. Make this some better place. Make this some better place.